The calm before the storm. Residents in the city of Perry in Florida preparing for Hurricane Idalia's arrival. Businesses were boarded up, and even inmates from a nearby prison were drafted in to help fill sandbags to buffer against possible floodwaters. But locals still hope for the best.
We've gone through a lot of hurricanes. We pray God turns them around, so fizzles them out. We believe that this is a safe place, and if hurricanes come, it's still going to be a safe place, even anywhere in Florida.
Thrashing rain and high winds were the initial signs on Florida's Marco Island that Idalia was making its way over to US shores on Tuesday. As the impending hurricane chased residents away from the Gulf Coast. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis warned residents that crunch time is coming.
And it is going to have major impacts, particularly along Florida's Big Bend region. So listen to your local officials, take the appropriate precautions to protect you and your family. And once the storm passes, we will have help that will be on the way.
These utility trucks are on standby to mobilize in the event of mass power outages. Idalia is making its way over to the southern United States from Cuba, where it has left a trail of devastation in its wake. It caused extensive flooding. It is expected to wreak havoc in Florida. President Joe Biden has pledged as much support as will be needed to the state.
Meteorologist and atmospheric scientist Matthew Capucci joins us now for more from Perry, Florida, which is right in the hurricane's path. Hi, Matthew. What's the situation where you are now?
Hey, good morning. Interestingly, right now, we're not seeing very strong winds at all. In fact, they're mostly calm, but it's deceptively calm. It's like the calm before the storm. The reason being, in hurricanes like this, you have so much air moving upwards at the middle of the storm, spiraling inwards and upwards with those very strong winds, that every so often on the outer edges, the periphery of the storm, you get bands of sinking air with calm winds. That's what's happening right now. But later on this morning, in about 2 or 3 hours, conditions will rapidly deteriorate here as we start seeing wind gusts approaching perhaps 180 to 200 kilometers per hour later on. Like we said, just 3 or 4 hours away as landfall comes soon. We're talking heavy rainfall as well in the order of about 10 to 20 centimeters in spots, a significant to life-threatening storm surge of up to about 4 meters as we push water against the coastline, and tornado risks as well. We've seen tornado warnings issued, several possible touchdowns in addition to that. So ultimately, we're seeing a slew of the worst conditions you can imagine. It all comes in just a few hours' time, right around sunrise, if not a little beforehand.
Talk to us more about that storm surge, Matthew. There is a lot of concern about it. Tell us more about what it is and why storm surge is so dangerous.
Well, storm surge is essentially water above ordinarily dry ground. You're pushing water against the coastline with those strong winds. In the case of the Big Bend of Florida, this area in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico, Appalachia Bay, it's especially concerning due to something called bathymetry, or the shape of the seafloor. Essentially, the seafloor is very gently sloping, very shallow. I want you to picture you're helping your friend move into his or her apartment. If you had a ramp and you were moving stuff up the ramp on a wheeled object of sorts, it'd be very difficult if the ramp was kind of straight up and down like this. But if you have a long, flat, gradually sloping ramp, it's very easy to push stuff up that ramp. Same thing here. The seafloor slopes very gently. It's so easy to pile water against the coastline, causing that splash over. And in this case, with so much extreme wind targeted and aimed towards the coastline, you get that surge of 3 to almost 5 meters in spots. And keep in mind, some communities that have never seen a surge like this before will be below water. That's why we were having everyone try to evacuate. We were really urging folks, get out of town. Some folks stayed, some folks went. Hopefully folks went.
Well, how are the conditions there for helping the people get out of town? If there's so many people that are in the storm's path, are they able to evacuate?
Time for them is running out, and I think there are two challenges facing us both as meteorologists and communicators. Number one, we've been telling people it's time to go, it's time to get out of Dodge, but the issue is we have hurricane data dating back to about 1851 here. We've never seen a major hurricane in Appalachia Bay where we are. And so one of the issues anytime we have a disaster is that people try to base their actions on prior experience. But the problem is they've never experienced anything like what they will today. They have no basis of comparison, and they oftentimes make really poor decisions. And a lot of folks are saying, oh, I've seen hurricanes before. Sure, they've seen storms before, but nothing of this magnitude here, at least where we are in this part of Florida. The other thing, too, is that we can tell people to evacuate, but if we don't help them do it, some people just physically can't, whether for economic reasons. Some people can't take the time off work. Some people don't have a vehicle. Some people don't have enough money to put gas in the vehicle, or they don't have a place to go to. Where are they going? How long is it taking to get there? Other people have mobility issues. Some people are disabled. Some people might need oxygen tanks. They don't have the means to be transported. And so ultimately, some people want to evacuate, but simply can't. And we can't be quick to judge if, unfortunately, there are people who just simply can't do it in a situation like this.
Matthew, thank you so much. That was Matthew Capucci in Perry, Florida.
Thank you.